From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Monday, March the 29th, 2021. An apparent car-ramming terror attack was prevented this weekend. The incident took place yesterday at a nature reserve parking lot near the West Bank city of Ma'ale Adumim, where the IDF tweeted an assailant accelerated toward a number of IDF soldiers, hitting several vehicles. The suspect, they wrote, was transferred to security forces for further questioning. No IDF injuries were reported. Leaders of political parties in the opposing camp to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have been meeting this weekend in the hopes of forming a coalition government. Yesh Atid party leader Yair Lapid met with Blue and White's Benny Gantz last night. It was the first meeting between the two since their political alliance broke apart last year when Gantz joined the Netanyahu government. Today, Gantz called for another meeting, again with Lapid, as well as with the head of Yemeni, Naftali Bennett, and New Hope party leader Gideon Sa'ar. Gantz said, "I urged the leaders of the Change bloc to sit down as soon as possible so that we can form an honest government and stop Netanyahu's rule." Israel's President Reuven Rivlin's office said that he will start meeting with party leaders a week from today, Monday, April the 5th, giving a deadline of forming a government to whomever Rivlin then chooses by Wednesday, April the 7th. A report today that the few remaining Jews of Yemen were driven out of the country by Iranian-backed Houthi rebels. The London-based Asharq el-Awsat newspaper said that 13 members of 3 different families left their homes and went to a United Nations refugee agency, apparently part of a deal to gain the release of a Jewish man being held by the Houthis for 6 years now. One family member said, "History will remember us as the last of Yemeni Jews who were still clinging to their homeland until the last moment." It remains unclear where the families went and whether any will be brought to Israel. Thousands attended the priestly blessing event at the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City today, the first time in a year and a half that such crowds were allowed to gather at the holy site because of coronavirus restrictions, which were scaled back ahead of the Passover holiday. Though safety guidelines were still in place, attendees were divided into pods by clear plastic barriers, and the event was also spread out over 2 days instead of just the one to limit the crowds. And a Passover message shared with the people of Israel last night. The new and first ever ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to Israel, Mohammed Al-Khaja, tweeted in English and in Hebrew, "On this Passover week, let us all celebrate the universal ideals of freedom and hopeful new beginnings. We have much to rejoice and look forward to. Happy Passover and Chag Sameach. See you soon, Israel." Israeli gymnast Linoy Ashram has done it once again, winning multiple medals in gymnastics. Ashram won 2 gold medals and a bronze as well in the Rhythmic Gymnastics World Cup held this weekend in Sofia, Bulgaria. Ashram is one of Israel's top hopes for a medal at the Olympics this summer. And a report that Israel will host the World Judo Championships for the first time ever. Israel Hayom reported on Friday that the International Judo Federation gave Israel the option to host the championships in Tel Aviv either in 2024, before the Olympic Games, or in 2025. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Monday, March the 29th at 7 o'clock. It's The Wisdom of Dr. Ruth. At 7:30, Central Synagogue Rabbi Angela Buchdal speaks with Simran Jeet Singh about anti-Semitism anti-Asian discrimination and her role as the first woman to lead New York City's historic Reform Synagogue. That's in a program of Religion News Service. At 8, the role of interfaith dialogue in the struggle for international religious freedom is the central focus of a discussion with Rabbi David Saperstein in a program of the American Jewish Committee, moderated by Jason Isaacson. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Bert Vysotsky on the importance of rabbinic commentary to the Torah on L'chaim. And at 10, a discussion on Jews and Jesus from the 92nd Street Y. And coming up next, Shachar Azani speaks with journalist Ben-Dror Yemeni on the meaning and implications of the recent decision by the International Criminal Court to investigate Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Monday, March the 29th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.